'Cause it's not about what you bring, it's about what you leave behind.
Imagine ending your day hiking the Tour du Mont Blanc and feeling refreshed instead of drained. And while other people are still getting up to the refuge, limping under heavy backpacks, I mean, even people who get luggage transportation, I noticed, have really heavy backpacks. But instead, you're at the refuge, you've already showered, you're having your first Aperol spritz and enjoying the mountain views. This is not luck. This is planning. Planning the right way to pack. As a repeat hiker in the Dolomites and the Alps and as a physical therapist, I care a lot about my back. And so I've created a system where you can think about 5 key categories to really hone in and only take what you need to be safe and comfortable. So the first thing, it's the 5 H's. You've got your hiking clothes, your hut clothes, your hygiene, your hydration, and your helpful tech and tools. Stick around to the end where I will show you where you can download a printable checklist, and you would be surprised what everyone messes up about the refuge clothes. All right, let's go first to the hiking clothes. So as a systems thinker, I think it's very important that you always are weighing your bag and you are training with your bag before you go fly across the world to do some iconic trek that costs you thousands of dollars. So always weigh it and check it. And then when you are at the end of your hike, actually take a video with your phone. Oh, hi, Ruby. Take a video with your phone and say, hey, I didn't need this, I didn't need that. And that's how you'll hone down what you exactly need. We're all a little different, so this is my experience. But as far as rain gear goes, I've been stuck in the mountains in Austria where it was a deluge. It was so bad that we were lucky enough to be in a town, and I went down and actually bought some rain pants for the first time. But in 5 years, that's the first time I've ever needed them. And in fact, on our last trip to the TMB, I brought them and then I left them in the car because the weather forecast was pretty good. That being said, the weather can always drastically change. What is typical is that you're going to have rain and lightning in the afternoon around 3 or 4, and that's why the huts kick you out so early. So a totally waterproof, 100% waterproof Gore-Tex raincoat. I mean, if that's a gamble because it's very hot to wear those kinds of coats. I actually prefer something that's a little bit more breathable and that's water resistant. Yeah, I mean, if we're not talking about hiking in, Finland or Sweden or something where it's constantly raining. But if you do come up against like a 2-week storm, then you may consider like a very high-end waterproof kind of rain jacket. But for most people, they don't actually bring rain pants and they bring a water-resistant raincoat instead because it's easier to hike and it's more breathable. And as far as the clothes that you're wearing, you just need one set because you can wash it every night. If you invest in merino wool, for example, a very great fabric, it ends up that you don't stink. My daughter brought like a sports shirt because it was cuter. Oh my God, she stunk to high hell. We were in a hotel in Courmayeur and I was scrubbing, and I could not get the stench out. But my merino wool shirt on this 45-year-old lady, it did pretty well actually. And it was a basic one that I got from Decathlon, nothing super fancy. They're not cheap though. And as far as your bottoms go, it's up to you, pants or shorts. And the only thing that is highly advised is that they're quick dry because you really only need one pair. And if it's quick dry, you can rinse it out at night and it'll be dry first thing in the morning. For your feet, socks that are of high quality and that you've tested before. Some people really need toe socks, other people can't stand them. Some people need really thick wool socks, others do really well with something synthetic, like this one. So it depends on you and what you've tested, but they're high quality and you have tested them out. But you really only need to bring 2 pairs instead of bringing a pair every day. Just in case, it's probably a really good idea to bring a sock liner in case you start to develop blisters. And that sock liner, you can basically make a double sock with whatever sock that you're on. For the layers on the top, so you've got your merino wool base layer. You're going to want some kind of insulative layer like a fleece or a puffy. And then the raincoat is your wind jacket. So you don't need to double that up. You also don't need to have another coat for at the hut. You can change into your hut clothes which we'll go over next, and then just put your raincoat over the top as insulative layer. Lots of exposed sections, so a hat that's wide brimmed, or at minimum a nice baseball hat is advised, and 100% some kind of sunglasses to protect your eyes from the damaging rays. You don't want a little bit of skin cancer like I got right there from, you know, that constant sun beating in your eyes. Up to you if you want some kind of sun protection for the back of your hands. I noticed quite a few people had that. I kind of wanted it because you don't want your skin to age, right? But if you have a third layer, like a sun hoodie or some kind of long sleeve that you can pull over the top of the back of your hand, that might be really helpful in the summer months when everyone's doing the TMB. And after that, really your shoes. So there's no wrong or right. Everyone says you have to have boots, you have to have trainers. No, it's up to you, what works best for you. Some kind of very nice wide toe box and good traction. And of course, like, the shoe has to actually fit you and be broken in. Don't show up, whether it's like a $300 pair of hiking boots or Converse, it doesn't matter like that as much. What matters is that they're broken in and they actually work for you and you've tested them before you show up on the TMB. Beyond that, on the trail, the last thing is some kind of buff or bandana. I find it really helpful to take the bandana and dip it in the cold water when it's really hot, or if it's really windy, keep my hair back out of my face if my hat's not doing the trick. So, next thing is the hut clothes. And with the hut clothes, you don't need to bring a lot. And most huts are very, very warm. They're really hot inside, actually. You have to be particularly cold-blooded not to be warm in most of the huts on the TMB. If you're doing some kind of extreme hut like Robert Blanc or whatnot, we're not talking about that. This is for average hikers. The huts are warm and cozy. They have lots of blankets. They're heated pretty well. So in fact, what I've done is I bring a second merino wool shirt and a second pair of hiking pants that are quick dry, and I use that as my hut clothes to go to dinner, to hang out, to go in between the shower and everything, play games at night. And it's great because I know that if we do run into a crazy rainstorm, then I can use my hut clothes as emergency clothes for the next day while I'm drying my previous day's hiking clothes. Other things you're going to need in the hut include a quick dry towel. Get a very small one, you don't need much, and you're going to need a sleeping bag liner. And again, this is up to you, but most people are pretty hot, so if you get a silk one, high quality, then typically you won't overheat in it. If you are one of those people that gets really, really cold at night, then maybe invest in one that's thicker, but you do not need to bring a sleeping bag at all. And just like you don't need to bring a cookware or, tent or any of those other things that most people mistake when they're hiking hut to hut versus backpacking. Okay, other things in the hut that you're gonna want include a pack of cards. It's fun to play with cards with people. And as a child growing up in the 80s, my mom told me if you keep your head warm, above all else, you won't get cold. So bring a nice merino wool beanie to keep yourself warm in case of emergency, or if you just want to hang out late at night on the deck. Oftentimes that's when you get some amazing views. Also, most huts have some kind of plastic shoes like slides that you can use. You're not allowed to wear your hiking shoes into the living spaces. I also enjoy swimming, so I bring a bikini, just not mandatory, but it is kind of nice if you find a nice mountain lake, Lake Miage, that you can go swimming in. And all of these clothes for the hut, I actually keep in a dry bag. So in my backpack, I have one bag that is for the hut, and then I have a separate bag that's a dry bag that I will put all my electronics in. And that way it's really easy on trail that I know the stuff that I want in the hut, I don't even have to bother with if I'm digging through my bag. So the other thing is the other H is hygiene. So things for hygiene please take the time to actually get the miniature sized ones. It makes a difference. Like, we're not ultralight backpacking, but it does make a difference if you get a small toothpaste, a travel sized toothbrush, a travel brush, and then soap for your face and your body. That could be the same or different depending on you. A few times you're probably going to want to wash your hair. So some shampoo and conditioner in little bottles can be very helpful. You'll also want to bring chapstick that has SPF in it, because when your lips get burned, that really, really stinks. So I had a friend in Austria whose lips were so burned from the Colorado sun. And that is a huge thing to definitely bring. So the packing cube, I don't necessarily use, but I use the dry bag as the packing cube, and everything fits in there really nicely. Other things for hygiene, definitely bring some wipes in case the hut that you're staying at has run out of water. This isn't normal, but it does happen. So you might want some wet wipes to kind of clean off in case you don't want to take a shower, or you don't have time because you showed up late, or they have run out of water. And for the ladies out there, a Kula cloth is a really nice little tool you can get. It has some kind of silver fibers in it, and it's antimicrobial, and that way you don't have to leave any toilet paper on the trail. In my hygiene bag, I bring 3 extra Ziploc baggies just in case something breaks or whatnot, and you'll always find a use for it, whether or not it's your packed lunch that you've brought and you've got a banana peel or some eggshells. You know, of course, you don't want to leave anything on the trail. So bringing a few extra baggies can be pretty nice. As far as hydration goes, very, very important. I typically bring a bladder for my backpack with the little straw that comes out, because I find I drink water more often that way. I also bring a reusable water bottle. I bring just something like a plastic water bottle, but whatever you like, and hydration tablets. So I get a little small package where it's little pellets, and you drop it in, and it's like an Alka-Seltzer in the water bottle. On the long ascents where you're bleeding out minerals, this can be really helpful for making it less painful to do a 1,200 meter ascent, for example. And of course, I mean, you could just chew it and then suck water out of your straw, but it's a little bit more pleasant to actually put it in a water bottle and then drink it. For snacks, considering that there's almost always a halfway stop with amazing food, which is why we go to the TMB, because you can get fried cheese wrapped in wonton papers, or a beautiful salad with vinaigrette dressing and fresh greens. You don't really need to bring a lot of food. Breakfasts are very protein low, so if you're the type of person who requires a lot of protein, you might want to bring some extra sort of meat heavy snacks to bring with you. But in general, I almost always bring food and then throw it away, because I never have enough space in my stomach to actually eat the packaged food that I bring in my backpack. And the final H is helpful tools and safety. So the phone is helpful, kind of sucks, but bring it. When you are ready to hike the TMB, go online and figure out how to download some GPS tracks. Pick your hiking app of choice, whether it's Komoot or All Trails. And that way, in case you run into some kind of emergency like a blizzard, you're able to follow your phone for navigation. You can also store your hut reservations on there. And if you have to change course, of course you need your phone. You would want to bring a plastic bag and keep your passport. In Italy, you actually have to have your passport to check into places. Your credit cards, your important documents like that, and your cash. Bring extra cash, because I have definitely been in this situation where we're in a group and we're all trading dollars for euros and this and that, because the hut doesn't take credit cards. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's hard to tell all the time. And as far as the safety goes, if you get a good backpack, I definitely recommend not having a big backpack on this trek. Somewhere between 18 and 36 liters should definitely be enough. Get one that has a good shoulder strap, get one that has a good hip strap. It fits you and your body, you've tested it. Most of the good ones have a whistle right here. They also have an integrated rain cover. If your backpack doesn't have a rain cover, get one, because more than likely it will rain at some point. And also with this other tools that you're gonna have is some kind of like miniature compass, again, in case your phone breaks or whatnot. Of course, bring a power bank to charge your phone, bring an adapter for all 3 countries that you're hiking through, and the charging cords that you need. If you can get a block that goes in the wall that has more than one port, that's really helpful, because oftentimes there's certain refuges or refugios, they don't have that many places to plug in. So if you're fighting for plugins with a bunch of people, if you have one that has like 5 or 6 plugins, then you can put yours in and then everyone else can do that as well. And so definitely get some earplugs, because people snore a lot. It's the nature of it. It's hard to sleep when you hear everyone snoring, especially if you're in the dormitory and you're not lucky enough to have private rooms. An eye mask might be helpful, maybe not. And for sure, the most important thing you need to bring as far as a tool goes is your first aid kit and your blister kit. So first aid kit, at a minimum, some kind of Neosporin, like an antibacterial cream, and island dressings like Band-Aids or whatnot. A knee sleeve, some kind of neoprene sleeve you can put on your knee in case you start to experience knee pain on the downhill, and bring in ACE bandage in case you twist an ankle. That is a very basic thing. You could go crazy and have gauze and this and that and everything else, but that probably will be enough. There's not a lot of bugs on the trek, so bringing bug spray isn't usually necessary. I actually like to bring hydrocortisone just in case, but I'm a little extra. Blister kit. Nothing ruins a trek like blisters. So, a blister kit, for one, understand blisters are not caused by rubbing, they're caused by shear forces. So anything that will, if you have a blister on your feet, or sometimes people get blisters here too, like on their sports bra area, whatnot, anything that makes it more slippery. So lubrication stick can be really helpful. It doesn't last very long. If you tend to get toe blisters, for sure get toe condoms. It's literally one of the best things you can get. That and toe socks. You can get ergo patches, which are like little stickers that you can put on the inside of your shoe. I actually have one here I can show you. It's very interesting. It just makes, if you have a hot spot, the toe condom and the patch and the lubrication, you put it in the place where you're getting the hot spot, and it can oftentimes make it so that the hot spot doesn't turn into a blister. Maybe not. Of course, training ahead of time is important, but these are really great things to do before the hot spot turns into a blister. Once you have the blister though, make sure you address it with some Neosporin, Band-Aids, tape, athletic tape, and if the blister is really popped, you want to put a Compeed patch on. And Compeed is basically a hydrocolloid bandage. You're probably going to have to tape it in place because they tend to move around while you are hiking due to all the movement in your shoe. I hate to say this, but ticks are a problem more in Europe than they used to be. So bring a pair of tweezers just in case you find a tick on your body. Other than that, I think we've covered almost everything. Let me know in the comments below if I forgot something, if you would add something that I didn't. I'm trying to keep it as minimalist as possible. I think some of my friends have said that I'm very extra and I bring way too much. So maybe I'm being a little too much with it. One strategy I found to be really helpful is that if you are going in a group, you only need one blister kit and you only need one first aid kit. So one person can carry that. And if everyone is smart and packs their electronics in one dry bag and their hut clothes in another, then if someone is struggling on the trail, they can just pull out that one bag and hand it to another member in their party who's not having a problem. They can offload their pack and they can get up the hill with a lot more vibrance and happiness. And the other person can be like, hey, cool, I helped someone out. And they feel good. The other person who's struggling feels a lot better. And that's That's such a nice feeling. So I think in conclusion, packing light is such a, like, it's a hard thing to do. Generally speaking, I go through my bag, and I supervise my kids doing it, and I'm like, okay, let's lay things out. We lay everything on the floor. We analyze each item, and we say, need it, don't need it, vec, get rid of it. And then we put it in little containers so that it's really easy to access things on the trail. And then if we need to share it between people in our group, we can. And then, of course, you know, we only need one toiletry bag between the three of us, like my kids and I. If you're on your own, of course, maybe that would not apply. Again, drop in the comments what you would bring or not bring based on this video. And I will link up a, for the first timers that are doing this TMB hike or hut to hut hike, a printable checklist where you can just download it, you can print it, and then you can just check, 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 check. But above all else, make sure you weigh your bag after it's full without water, then add water and weigh it. Water is very heavy. And train 2 or 3 times on local hikes with your full weight before you decide to travel and hike the TMB. Because I think that knowing what it's like, I don't know, that just gives a little bit of power. If you want to see what it's like for normal people to hike the Tour du Mont Blanc in August with 5 days of sun, watch this next video where we started our hike paragliding off Mount Brevant to start our 5-day trek across the most beautiful part of the TMB.